What is a reasonable expectation for the Rams in 2024? Is it Super Bowl or bust? Because again, last year they made a mark in the NFL. They have a strong roster. Go ahead and set that bar so high to the Super Bowl, or maybe it's the same kind of benchmark from last year of what they did. Because again, no Aaron Donald. Maybe they're a playoff team, or maybe the first step is dethroning the 49ers in the NFC West, beat them at the division, get that division title, and then you become a legit Super Bowl contender. So maybe winning the NFC West could be a big mark there. Obviously, I know people are going to say, getting back to the playoffs is definitely the highest priority there. But I'm just curious to see if the listeners here at House of Horns views them as a legit contender. I know they're people are fans. They have some homer goggles sometimes, but let's be legit here. How do you realistically see the Rams for this team? I think it's tough to gauge because they are a playoff team, but the whole Aaron Donald dynamic, I've been stuck on that for the entire offseason. But I like what Leslie did. Obviously, trading away Ernest Jones. We haven't spoken since Ernest Jones got
Yes.
traded. Leaves a little sour taste going into the regular season. So overall, it's been an up and down roster, but I think still at least playoffs or better is a reasonable expectation, at least for me.
Yeah, and I mean, just kind of going over what they've done over the offseason, they have a really good team here offensively, but I think from what we've seen so far, Gilbert, in terms of the preseason, is there's a lot of unknowns with this team. And, I think as we talked about expectation, we're talking about, in this matchup, you have the Lions team who's already they're looked at as a Super Bowl or bust kind of situation going on with them. And then you have the Rams. It's like, okay, are they where the Lions were last year, where they almost made the playoffs and then they go and they win the division, as you talked about? And so now with the Rams, is that the expectation? And I think so for me, Gilbert, just wanted to ask you this, and more so because you cover the National Football League as a whole. In terms of what you've been hearing and what you've been seeing around the league, you know, in terms of the expectations for the Rams, I know that it's if this team is gonna meet those expectations, it's a playoff. So what is it? What is the key for them to meet those expectations this season? Is it as simple as you have Sean McVay and he's the key, or is there something else for you that needs to happen for them to be able to meet those expectations that everybody has around the league?
Yeah, I guess on the bright side, or comparing it to last season, there was just so much unknown, so much uncertainty. Like you didn't know what this, new phase of Sean McVay and Rams football is going to look like. When you have a rookie class that produces right away and you build a new core group, that helps you so much. So you don't have that issue where you don't know who's going to be your star players or your playmakers. But there are some holes on this roster, some uncertainty, and I keep going back to the defense, and I keep going back to our interview with Adam Grossbar, the Rams beat reporter for the Orange County Retro, saying, honestly, I don't know what to expect with the Rams defense. And that's kind of where I am as well. Like the whole Aaron Donald aspect has been overlooked because that is a testament to what Les Snead has done on the defensive front. Kobe Turner, Byron Young, Braden Fisk, uh, Jared Verse, and you can even throw Michael Hoyt in there as a rotational piece. But they prepared well for life after Aaron Donald, and maybe that's why that storyline hasn't been talked about as much. Or at least I'm talking about it, but people on the outside haven't. But you got to look at the linebacker group. It's I'm gonna keep it real. It's probably the worst linebacker unit in the NFL. When you lost Ernest Jones, that one didn't make sense to me. I get it. It's a business. You want to move on, and that's the way the Rams operate. But they're hurting right there. And then the
Yeah.
second there, you bet on guys who are older and have injury concerns. You need guys like Cam Crow to step up, who was your big free agent addition. You need guys like Russ Yeast and Quentin Lake to take a step forward. At cornerback, I just don't see enough talent there. That's why I'm concerned. But maybe Tre'Davious White turns back the clock and stays healthy. Maybe Darius Williams turns back the clock and stays healthy. You never know. And obviously, the other factor is Raheem Morris. So there are still some holes there and uncertainty with the Rams. But to give you kind of the whole point of view here, the Rams I feel like are still a trendy pick because of what they did last year. People are not forgetting about what they did. They surprised a lot. Yeah, there's still some pieces there where you want to work on, but when you have Puka Nakua, you have Cooper Cup, you have Matthew Stafford, And by the way, when you have Sean McVay, you're always going to count on Sean McVay because he what he did last year. When people thought that Sean McVay was ready to go to the booth and he forgot about football and they counted him out, you saw what he did in 2023. He's still one of the best damn coaches in the NFL, and that's why you're always going to have a chance when you have the quarterback and you have the coach, and then you have some good pieces all around there when you're drafting well. So those are big recipes there to be a team that continues to win on a yearly basis. I keep seeing the Rams as this trendy pick to make it to a divisional round, maybe even push the 49ers for the division. I think that's the biggest step, Victor, when I started
Yes.
talking on top of the show, is beating the 49ers for the division to truly become a legit Super Bowl contender. When they get back when they got back Trent Williams and they got back Brandon Ayuk, I'm like, oh crap, maybe things are going to stay the same there. And to plug a story that's coming out for me on Friday at si.com, I'm gonna try something different this year. I'm gonna have like more of a betting column for the end of the week, more focus on picks and betting things. But I'm gonna call people who I know from Las Vegas to give me some trends of what's going on at the sports books. And to give you a quick preview here, one of them told me the Rams are being heavily favored, not by the public, by the sharp bettors. The sharp bettors are the ones they know
Oh yeah.
follow the money. They're the ones that are well informed. So when I hear that, the sharp bettors are betting on the Rams to beat the 49ers in the NFC West. That says a lot for in terms of the whole national outlook for the Rams there.
Yeah, and I mean the Rams also have a second place schedule, and that factors in. And as we talked about, yesterday we had our preview show for the season and we made our predictions. And I have the Rams going in. I kind of wavered a little bit, Gilbert, here and there, just because. And the reason we're having this discussion is because we haven't been around. We weren't around last week. We did a projection show, and then we didn't get a chance to kind of give our thoughts in terms of the season preview for the Rams. And so we're trying to do that now, quickly, and then we'll get into previewing this game. But um, Gilbert, I have the Rams getting in. Like I said, I waver back and forth just because of the injuries that have crept in the last couple of weeks. You also have the uncertainty with the defense, as you talked about. But I still have this team. I have them at 10-7, and I have them making the playoffs and as a 7 seed. So for me, that like I said, I think I think with the turnover you've had this off season, I think the reasonable expectation is to make the playoffs again. Now, I think the icing on the cake, as you talked about it, would be to beat the 49ers for the division and take that next step, kind of like what you saw the Lions do last season.
Yeah, and to share I guess my playoff bracket, I also had the Rams in the playoffs, and like yourself, Victor, I kept going back and forth. Some weeks I didn't like the Rams, some weeks I did. But at the end of the day, when you think about the head coach and the quarterback, think about it. I know the offensive line is banged up, but if they're healthy, they're going to be good. And we'll discuss the shuffling in the offensive line. That's a concern there. But Jonah Jackson being added, Kevin Dotson being retained, Puka Nakua getting better in year two. Like there's a lot of pieces here to like them at least as a playoff team. And I'll say this, maybe people are going to boo me. I don't like them as much as the 49ers in the division just yet. They, you know, they have that Chiefs kind of vibe where like they haven't won the whole thing, but they're still pretty good. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna go off of reputation and what they've done. Like, they get in the playoffs pretty on a yearly basis. At least they proved that they might be one of the best teams to kind of get the Rams fans back on my side. They could end up being one of the best teams that never got it done. So you don't want to be remembering history to being the best team that never won a Super Bowl. So they're in that territory where they are good, but they can't finish it. Hey, but the Rams have got in their way many times too with this Kyle Shanahan and this Sean McVay, back and forth rivalry. So I'm not ready to say the Rams are better than the 49ers in terms of the division, but I do have the Rams going to the divisional round in my bracket. I think I had them. Uh, who did I have them? They were losing. Oh, I already forgot. But they got to the second round. It might be the Lions. It might be another rematch against the Lions. I forgot already. So I got them in division round at least. That's one step further than last year. So it feels like that they could go a step further. I'm just not ready to give it 2, 3 more steps there. But I do feel like this is a team that could get better. I just don't see a massive jump, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does. And I think it takes steps, especially like we talked about, you know, after you kind of rebuild this team. I mean, they reloaded. It only took one season, and they were right back in the mix, and that has a lot to do with Sean McVay. So shout out to him and also Les Need and what the job they've been doing. Let me get to some of these comments before we get our to news and notes, and then we'll start breaking down this matchup between this wild card rematch from last season between the Rams and the Lions. We have DJ Fono who says Batman boys, let's go Rams. Delver Salgado says health, chemistry, momentum is the key. Don't count these young bucks out. I predicted 11 wins. Missing ink will be Shula's defense. Oh, missing link will be Shula's defense. So there you go. So that's reasonable. You got Manuel Correa. He says, "What's up, guys? What's going on, Manuel?" And then he's predicting. He's either saying, "I think either 12-5 or 11-6."